truth is, once you reach a certain level of language proficiency, it's not your fluency that's holding you back anymore. But you can still hear that voice in your head. If I can just get a little bit more fluent, then I'll speak up in meetings. When I'm C2, then I'll feel ready. Once I learn a few more phrasal verbs, then I'll talk to native speakers. Sound familiar? Here's the truth. Fluency and confidence are not the same thing. And for strong communication, you need both. Most people, especially English learners, end up communicating weakness, not because of what they say, but how they say it. Why? Because they chase perfection in language, but ignore the other elements of confident communication. Yes, English proficiency matters, but it's just one piece of how other people perceive you and ultimately how successful you are. The good news is that assertive communication can be learned. And that's exactly what I've been working on this week. And I recorded my own progress to show you later in this video. But first, I want to share a concept I picked up from speaking coach Vin Jiang, something I've been practicing myself. Now, I'm a native English speaker, so my English is pretty solid. But this one exercise has made me realize that I've been doing something all the time that's making me sound weak. So if it helped me, I know it's going to help you too. We're going to focus on one element of your speech that'll make you sound more confident and assertive when you speak English. It's the assertive drop. The idea is that a falling intonation sounds more assertive. Remember in your Learn English textbooks, they always say when you ask a question, the intonation should rise. Well, why is that true? Is that true? I think it's true. It's true. And it's true because it sounds like you don't know what you're talking about. You're asking. It sounds indecisive and unsure. And the opposite is also true. A falling intonation sounds like you know the answer. Sure, solid. The problem is that many of us have allowed this rising intonation of nervousness to invade our speech. We do it all the time, and it sounds like we're asking for permission to speak. Weak. So can we harness this information to sound more confident and assertive, even when asking questions? Well, yes. The truth is, you can still ask a question with a falling intonation, and it can be very effective at getting people to respond to you. So I was watching this Vin Jiang speaking workshop. If you haven't seen him before, he's all over YouTube. Check him out. It's good stuff. And he was helping this Indian guy. The guy had to stand up in front of everyone and introduce himself. Hi, I'm Mr. D, and I want to sound more assertive. Stop. Try it again with a falling intonation. I want to sound more assertive. No, stop again. More assertive. Here's how you fix it. Step 1, identify the problem. I always say this about pronunciation and accent in general. If you can't hear the difference, then you can't produce it accurately. I think the Indian guy in the conference, and it was that bad, couldn't even hear what he was trying to achieve. The rising intonation habit was so embedded that he couldn't even control it on a single phrase. And I was left thinking, does this guy even know what he's supposed to be doing? So let's be clear. We're talking about variation in the pitch of our speech. How high or low our voice is. Nervous? Confident. And we're listening out for the final sound or syllable of the phrase. That controls everything. It might all be low down and quite serious, but we can cause massive uncertainty by rising at the end. Or we can be up and down and quite dynamic, but take back control by dropping at the end. Hear the difference? Step 2, analyze your speech. Just by being aware of this problem, you'll start to identify it and see some improvement. But the best way and how you get some serious results is by recording yourself, listening back and analysing your speech. I even recorded a couple of sessions to see if I could make any improvements and to show you how to do it. First, we need to get a speaking prompt. Now we can use AI for this, something like ChatGPT. I'll put the AI prompt that I used in the description if you want to use that. And this shouldn't be pre-prepared or practiced. It should be spontaneous speech. So we use the prompt from ChatGPT to tell us what to talk about, and then we talk for a minute. We can build this up later to maybe 5 minutes. Here's the prompt I was given. You are a team leader preparing your group for a community gardening event this weekend. For the next minute, give your team specific instructions on what needs to be done, who will do what time to arrive, and how the tasks will be divided. Here I go.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming today. So we've got a lot of work to get done in this gardening project. So I'm going to divide you into 4 teams. Now I want the first team to be in charge of chopping down the trees. You're going to use the chainsaws and the tools that we've provided. The next team is going to be in charge of carrying that wood to the log pile. So once they've chopped it down, you're going to collect it up, put it in the wheelbarrows and push it over there. Team 3, you're going to be in charge of digging the holes for the flower beds. And then team 4, you're going to be in charge of planting. So once they've dug the holes, you're going to use the wheelbarrows to bring the plants down and put them in the holes and then just top them off with some soil. And once we're all finished, we'll water them together.
Then watch or listen back and pay attention to the intonation in your speech. This is much more difficult than it sounds. And I have a confession to make. I even edited out a few of the ums and ahs, some of the long silences, and even a few failed attempts.
Team 3, you're going to be in charge.
And definitely a lot of uncertainty. Hear all those rising endings?
We've got a lot of work to get done. Gardening project, 4 teams, chopping down the trees, digging the holes for the flower beds, top them off with some soil.
Step 3, repeat and improve. Do this every day for a week, focusing on just this one element. Listen again, highlight it, practice re-saying it. And for me, something unusual happened. I started noticing and paying more attention to intonation in everyday life. And once you're aware of this, it's possible to see really massive improvements in just 1 week. Later in the week, I got a new prompt. You're a manager at a coffee shop training a new employee on how to open the store in the morning. For the next minute, explain the opening routine clearly and confidently. Include timing, cleaning tasks, machine prep, and how to handle early customers. Here's my attempt. Right then, you lot, I don't have the first idea about how to run a coffee shop, but we need to get ready for the first customers to come in. So I want you to clean the floors, you to clean all the tables, you to get the coffee ready. I don't put the kettle on. And if you stand by the door and if any customers come early, just tell them we're not open yet, go away. Now, you can tell I have no coffee shop experience, but you can still sort of tell I'm the boss. The bonus is that although you're focusing on the intonation, you'll also see improvements in other parts of your speech. For example, I noticed that I had a lot of these filler words, the ums and ahs, so I highlighted those too. And that's the idea. You might spend a week on intonation, then the next week you could spend eliminating filler words, and then after that, volume, or pace, or using your hands more. And if you're serious about it, within a few months, your speech is going to be massively more fluent, but also more confident, engaging, and assertive. This isn't a quick fix, but if you're serious about improving your communication skills and realistically surpassing many native speakers' abilities, this is worth your commitment. If that sounds good, subscribe to join me as we develop these skills together.